Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. Root Beer here with question number 23 on our 2009 Grade 7 Gauss paper. So we're about halfway done the Part C questions. Let's take a look at question 23 here. Each time Kim pours water from a jug into a glass, exactly 10% of the water remaining in the jug is used. Okay. So if 10% of the water is used, then every time Kim pours, 90% of what was there before stays in the jug, I guess. What is the minimum number of times that she must pour the water into the glass so that less than half the water remains in the jug? Okay. So, having probably more math education than you, I can tell you that there's actually going to be an interesting way to solve this sort of question when you start reaching late high school, early university, with what are called logarithms. However, you don't know these. I'm not going to get into them. You didn't come here for just, a weird, well, not weird, but a lesson in exponential functions or anything like that. So we're going to go about this sort of let's pour some water and calculate how much is left of the total, and then pour some more water, and just keep going until the amount of water that's left in the jug is less than half. So it's just going to be probably a little work with our calculator, but that's okay. It's going to be very, very straightforward. So let's go over to our notepad here. So if 10% of the water goes into the glass from the jug, 90% remains after each pour. So if at the start of a pour we have W, the amount of water, so let's say we have W is the total amount of water. We just want to get it down so it's less than half W. Then after the first pour, 90% of W remains, or 0.9 times W, or you could say 9/10 of W. Okay, so that's 90% of the water's left, but after the second pour, it's going to be 90% of, well, the 90% that we had before. And what we want to do is pay attention to these numbers in front. Now, 0.9 times 0.9 is 0.81. So just a little over 80% of the water is remaining in the jug, and that's how we interpret this. After our third pour, well, 90% of the previous pour is still there. So 0.9 times 0.81 times however much water we had at the start. It really doesn't matter. And you can absolutely do this question without these W's. Okay, but we'll just say W is the amount of water at the start. So that'll be 0.729. Grab your calculator. At any point, these calculations become difficult. They haven't for me yet, but that's because I know my powers of 9. Although I will need it on the next one, I think. No, it should be 6,561, I think. Anyway, so about 72% of the water. And it's a good idea to test, okay, do I understand what this amount actually represents? Can I convert easily between decimals and percentages? So after the fourth pour, we get 0.9 times 0.729W, and that should be 0.6561W. And that's about 65%. So we're not there yet, but you can see we're getting closer and closer. As soon as, if we hit 0.5W, that's good, but I believe we want less than half the water. So we're going to look for anything that's 0.4 something or 0.3 something. As soon as we do that, that's how many pours we need. Okay? Now I will need to get out my calculator for the next one. But after the fifth pour, and we're getting very close, so 0.6561 multiplied by 0.9, 0.59049. So just under 60%. You can also see it's sort of slowing down. First we dropped by 10%, then 9%, then a little less than 9%. Okay, sixth pour, Maybe we even need 7th pour. I really don't think we'll need the 8th pour, but I'm willing to be surprised. And you don't need to write these down. I'm writing them down. As long as you just keep pressing 0.9 and multiplying that through, you should be fine. 5 threes. This is the first time it's stayed within the same 10th digit. It's just over 50%, and I bet if we multiply by 0.9 one more time, oops, that's my answer. I'm copying down. We do get about 47% of the water remains. I don't need to actually write all this out, because the point is this is finally less than half of the water, which would be 0.5 W. So this is our 7th pour. We kept track of it all the way through, so we're going to get an answer of C. All right. Just double check. What's the minimum number of times to pour the water jug into the glass? Okay, 7. 1 pour gives us 90%. 2 pours, 81%, and so on. 7 pours gives us about 47%. And there we go. That finishes off question number 23. I will see you guys in the next video for question number 24.